So for the second part of, for your second unit, we'll be covering Chapter 4 in your review book at home and Chapters 2 and 3 in our textbook in class. And our topics are population and migration. And we're looking at some major themes or key issues. So where do we find most of the world's population? Where is it distributed? Why is our global population increasing? Why does this growth vary between different regions? So why is the growth rate different in Europe than it is in sub-Saharan Africa? And why do some regions face health threats? And then we'll be carrying that over to look at why do people move to places that they do? Why are people migrating? Your first reading is pages 158 to pages 161. And again, that's Chapter 4 in your review book. And you'll see that this makes up 13 to 17% of your AP Human Geography exam. So population migration is a big deal. And a lot of this unit will also be covered on the AP Environmental Science exam. And so this is something that we really want to make sure that you understand and that you're able to apply, because we'll be using it all year long. And so to start with, we're going to look at some basic population statistics. So why is our global population increasing? And to understand that, you have to understand, you really have to understand the math behind it. And I know your review book says that you're not going to be doing tons of math, but you are. You're going to be doing some math in this chapter. So geographers measure a population change in a country or in the world as a whole by using 3 different statistical measures. So you'll be looking at crude birth rate. And the crude birth rate is the total number of live births in a year for every 1,000 people alive in your society. And so you'll see that birth rate equation, the number of live births divided by the total population multiplied by 1,000. You'll also see the crude death rate, CDR. And the crude death rate is the total number of deaths in a year for every 1,000 people alive. So crude birth rate, crude death rate, they're each going to be per 1,000 people. So hopefully all they'll give you is crude birth rate or crude death rate. You shouldn't have to switch back and forth from crude birth rate to a percentage. But if it happens, I'll go over how to calculate that with you in class. And then we're going to look at the natural increase rate. And we're looking at natural increase rate. We're just looking at the number of people who are born and the number of people who died. That's why it's called natural increase rate. Most books refer to natural increase rate as NIR, but your review book uses the second abbreviation, RNI, rate of natural increase rate. So just know that both of these are the same and they flip back and forth. And so to calculate this, you look at the crude birth rate minus the crude death rate, and that equals the natural increase rate. If you need to get NIR as a percentage, you need to then divide this number by 10. Because crude birth rate and crude death rate are each telling you the number of births per 1,000, and a natural increase rate, you need to get that into a percentage, which means you need it in per 100. So it's CBR minus CDR divided by 10, just like it says in your book, and we'll be doing some more practice. Does your natural increase rate have to be positive? No. You could have a death rate that's larger than the birth rate. And what does that mean about your population? It means really that it's decreasing. So a negative NIR for RNI means that you have a decreasing population. It is not expanding. And so you do get places where you have a reduced number of children or reduced fecundity. You have places where you have 2 people who are working and they don't have children. I guess like my house. And so you do get populations in places in the world where they have less children than they used to. And then you can have a shrinking population. So we'll be looking at that. And the last calculation is the doubling time calculation. And doubling time is just 70 divided by the natural increase rate. And so that tells you how long it will take for a country to double its size. So to calculate doubling time, we use the rule of 70. The rule of 70, again, is just 70 divided by that NIR number, or RNI number, and that tells you how long it will take a country to double in size. So make sure you know those formulas because we'll be going over them. So you need to know how to calculate crude birth rate, crude death rate, natural increase rate, and the doubling time. One important factor is when we're looking at the natural increase rate, you're either looking at the increase of a population as a whole, like at the global level, or you're looking at just the natural birth and death rate for a country. So this does not include the number of people who are leaving the country or emigrating, or the number of people who are immigrating into a country. So this doesn't account for global migration patterns. This is just how many people are dying in your country, how many people are being born. And again, if you were going to calculate the birth rate or death rate or the NIR for the entire world, this is the formula you would use because we don't have people migrating in and out of the planet. But again, you can also look at the NIR for a country. And it's a good key, like, do you need people to move into your country? If you have a really high crude birth rate, you might have a lot of people emigrating out of your country. So knowing the NIR, the RNI of a country, really does give you the tools to predict what population and migration patterns you'll see within that country.